What should service commitments look like your first year on the tenure track? You're going to find out right now. Hey everybody, I'm Leigh from teachingacademia.com, and I'm all about giving you the tools you need to navigate academia and make your best impact. So in this video, we're talking about what should your service commitments and responsibilities look like, particularly very early on in your career on the tenure track, starting with year one. I'm going to give you 3 tips that I think will help you with this so that you end up doing an appropriate amount of service, but you don't get bogged down by overcommitting and as a result not do well in your research and your teaching. So let's dive in. Number 1, learn the service expectations. So what I mean by this is take a look at your contract. What percentage of your job is service? It's probably somewhere between 5 and 10%. Map that out onto a 40-hour work week. Now, I know that most academics work 50 to 60 hours, and if you want to map it out that way, you can. I don't recommend it. I would, for service, map it out onto a 40-hour work week. So, and I personally, if it came out to 4 hours or 8 hours, I wouldn't really worry about, I kind of round up. I go, well, maybe 5 hours a week or 10 hours a week. But the thing with service is that it's not something that you're going to do every week. So let's say that you decided that 10 hours a week was how much you should be spending on service. Well, you're not just going to automatically spend 10 hours a week each week on service, right? So with your research and your teaching, if you figure out how many hours each week you should be spending on that, you can pretty much make that happen, right? With your classes, actually teaching them, planning, grading, meeting with students, etc. You can sort of keep that in the ballpark. But with service, things can ebb and flow. So for example, if you're on a search committee, you might have very little work to do initially. And then all of a sudden you might have anywhere from 1 to 3 months where it's a lot of work and it's super intense, and then nothing after that, okay? So sometimes these so-called hours we should be spending on service, they get truncated into a very finite period of time. And so just be aware of that. What we're really thinking about is, do your commitments average out to a reasonable amount of time over the course of the year, or have you overcommitted? We don't want to overcommit, which brings me to the second point, which is meet, but do not exceed your service expectations. So if you overextend yourself with service, people will love you, okay? If you're willing to take on all the jobs that other people don't want to do, especially if you do them well, they will love you. You will have so many friends, but it will not get you tenure, okay? Keep that in mind. All right, being a good, being just, an everyday good academic and friend to the university and the programs, etc., is great, but it's not going to get you tenure. So if you exceed expectations in any format, I would say exceed in research or exceed them in teaching. I would err on, if your expectations are higher with research, then exceed in research. If your expectations are, if you have to spend more time teaching, exceed in teaching, okay? Those are the things that you should put more time into that will get you tenure, that will have that payoff, that are worth it. Service is not one of them. So you just want to meet those basic expectations for service. And then finally, run service requests by your mentor, okay? Run it by somebody that you trust. Especially early on in your career, you're not necessarily gonna know what all these committees are doing, what the time commitments are. Maybe the person running it is not necessarily the best person to run it. Maybe they've got like this long negative history in the department, or maybe they're fabulous, okay? But you don't know everybody well yet. You don't know the history. You don't know the politics. So running these things by a trusted mentor, they can at least give you an informed opinion in terms of this is a really good thing to commit to, or this is not a good thing to commit to, or yes, this would be a really good thing to commit to, but it's a lot of work. So if you say yes to this expectation over here, say no to every other commitment that comes your way this year, because this one thing will be enough for you to meet the expectations, all right? So just getting somebody's input those first few years is really going to help guide you and help you make better and informed decisions that will ultimately serve you well. So if you like this video and you want more, click right here, and I'll see you in the next one.